Hi, my name is Tony Hanson. I run a company called Environmental Solutions International, and I'd like to thank you for having a look at our YouTube channel and for looking at this presentation, which will give an overview of how we work with our clients to achieve net zero. Personally, I've been involved in the golf industry since 1985, with periods working in commercial property, but primarily in facilities management and sustainability. The environmental consultancy that I've established works primarily with the golf and leisure sector, but also with estates. And we've established a bespoke environmental and operational management system which picks up the day-to-day running of an estate in terms of recording the required data on pesticide and fertilizer applications, stock levels and the like, but also provides detailed information on compliance, how it should be achieved, what sort of management techniques need to be in place, and working that along with the pollution prevention guidelines and various information from NGOs, we've put together a breadcrumb trail to ensure compliance amongst our clients. I've worked in the industry, as I say, for many years, and with golf specifically, I have now been involved with Golf Environment Organisation since 2012 as a sustainability associate, helping clubs to move through the process to achieve geo-certification or to verify that they've actually achieved the requirements on the ground to allow them to be verified by Golf Environment Organisation in Scotland. I also sit on the GB&I Golf Sustainability Group with the Royal and Ancients Sustainability Director and the Home Golf Unions and a number of other representatives to look at the golf industry strategically and to see how we can actually improve sustainability within our industry. And I've been a bigger partner now for just over a year and worked with England Golf for 4 or 5 years. Over the years that I've been involved in sustainability and environmental management, I've managed to put together a very good network across a range of NGOs, charities, regulators, wildlife trusts and academic bodies as well. So we're in a situation where we do have an awful lot of contacts, we have a lot of knowledge that we can pull into. So if we do get asked various questions by clients, we normally have the answer, but it's almost the case that if I don't know the answer, I'll certainly know somebody that does. I've been working very closely with the Environment Agency and water companies to look at the availability of water for the golf and leisure sector, discretionary water users as they determine it, but primarily looking at irrigation water use. And the image that I've put up here is of the River Ver. I did geo-verification at a club near this site. And I've got a picture here on the left-hand side from 2013, which shows the River Ver with a reasonable flow and a good range of flora growing. The image on the right-hand side is December 2019, so after an awful lot of the rainfall that we had through autumn and winter, we were still looking at zero flows. More recently, I checked the flows on that beginning of March, and there is now a low flow going through on this river, but nothing like the flow that's indicated from 2013. So we are, although we're in a period of flood, we are in a situation where the golf industry, particularly for irrigation purposes, does need to look very closely at how it's using resources. With regards to environmental management, we've always taken the view that sustainability has to pay. It has been seen as a cost by some people, and I think for some clubs it has been a reason that they haven't engaged or looked at environmental management. They do see it that it's going to be either extra management time or just a pure additional cost. What I would say, and what we've certainly found with clients that we've worked with, is that we can certainly use the tag that sustainability pays. We reduce energy consumption, typically by between 15 and 30% for our clients. We look at water consumption as well, again looking for efficiencies that will reduce the consumption, and then looking at alternative supplies for irrigation use to build in that resilience. But other key elements that we provide are compliance, documenting what you do, your management techniques to make sure that you are remaining within the rules, but also documenting the fact that you are within the rules, that your management practices, both from management manuals, but also in fact and on the ground, and the methods that are used, comply to make sure that you're going to minimize the risk of any environmental incident. As part of the operational side of the environmental management system, we also give a platform, and the worksheets that we put together, the Excel spreadsheets, provide clear day-to-day management. They allow a tool that you can use on a daily basis to record your water, pesticides, fertilizers, which also then provides you with a huge amount of background data. As soon as you're putting that information in, it provides you with a huge amount of information back out in terms of stock levels, expenditure year to date, and information that you can use for your budgeting. The flip side of that is that we've always looked at trying to create a balance to understand the greenhouse gas, the emissions that are created by the golf club, but also to balance that against the carbon sequestration and the natural capital value that is provided on your site. So we always try and look at creating that balance, to look at the sequestration, and also to use stakeholder engagement in a local offset, so we can actually talk to your suppliers to see whether they would be prepared to help by offsetting some of the CO2 emissions that are attributable to your spend with them on your site. So in simple terms, what we do in the initial stages is benchmarking. We're looking to reduce your emissions, but to get a figure for your greenhouse gas for your emissions, to identify the on-site carbon sequestration, and then to develop a program to help sell your surplus, hopefully, in terms of carbon credits. So working with other stakeholders, other people that are involved with your business, to allow them to offset their carbon as well, but to create an income for you. A golf business has numerous areas of operation, and this, I believe, is the first operational and environmental management system which takes into account all of the areas of operation and allows you to record and manage every area of operation. So whether that's hotel services within the clubhouse, looking at resource use, water use, stakeholder engagement, but also looking at the management of the course maintenance facilities in terms of fuel storage, chemicals, washdown areas, water quality. So it covers the entire site, and that's exactly how it's been developed to work, is to provide you with a single point of contact that allows management for course managers and also the facilities management, so that you can tie everything together in one neat package. So providing a system which provides course management with your staff management records, fleet, herbicides, pesticide, fuel use, water and abstraction, compliance, waste monitoring, and also giving you those stock levels that you need when you're managing AI, NPK year to date, but also when you're putting in your applications, which we'll come on to in a minute, in terms of identifying actual cost per application and NPK or AI. Just provides you with that extra level of information that you need. And in addition to that, the natural areas that we also cover, we look at statutory designations on site, whether there are tree preservation orders, triple SIs, area of outstanding natural beauty, anything that may put you in a situation where there could be additional regulation or something that you should be aware of before you do any work on the natural environment, identifying stakeholders that should be consulted potentially on that. On the clubhouse, the hotel services, well, it's slightly simpler, but there are still hazardous materials that need to be looked at, primarily from catering. But primarily the clubhouse, the hotel service, is going to look at heating, cooling and lighting, and water use. The compliance on catering tends to look at fat oil and grease, how you're dealing with that through wash machines, through sinks and the discharge to the sewers, but also sewage treatment if it's an off mains sewage system. We have to look at that, and discharge licenses as well. So the whole process, combining Clubhouse operations and course management operations, will put you in a better position to understand exactly what you're doing, but it will also highlight all of the compliance areas and hopefully reduce your exposure or the potential to risks of fines or criminal prosecution. In the event of a spill or an incident, it should reduce the amount of the damage that could be caused. Now, just to give you a little overview of the way that the Excel spreadsheets are set up, what we've tried to do is make them as clear and intuitive as possible. So with the Course Manager's Launchpad, you simply look at what area or what you actually want to do. In the initial stages, you need to set up your staff register and your vehicle fleets, pesticides and fertilizers. But once you put that information in, it's used right the way through the workbook. So from that point onwards, every time you do an application, it comes from a drop-down menu. If you're identifying vehicles or spray equipment, then again, similarly, you can just pick from a drop-down list when you're putting in the application, as you can with staff and recording staff hours. Irrigation use, particularly important if you're keeping track of that because you've got an abstraction license. It will flag up when you're coming towards the end of your abstraction license volumes. Identifying your waste, checking legal compliance, but also importantly giving you a course management dashboard so that it will give you a quick overview of where you're at in terms of costs year to date, MPK to date, AI, fuel stocks and fuel use as well. So it gives you a really close review and management program that you can look at very, very quickly if somebody asks you for a budget or where you are against budget on a particular time. If you're putting in and recording your usages, it will give you all of that information immediately. The initial setup for the system is something that we help our clients with. And on this example, you can see that it's the fertilizers, and I just have it down as fertilizer 1, 2, 3, etc. But if you put the fertilizer names in, pack size, cost per pack, and then the NPK, you are then set. You can then use that information, and when you actually put an application in, you click on record application and it will take you through to the next stage. And here you can see the individual records, so you can identify date, the region, area that you're actually doing it on. If you've got multiple courses, you can identify the course that it's on and then the area that it's on. It records weather conditions. The drop-down menu for staff means that you can pick from your staff list that you've tailored, so individual spray operators, you can then pick from there. And again, vehicles, the same thing from a drop-down list. Recording the hours will then flag up in the dashboard for you. The MP and K figures are automatically picked up because you've already put those in, and then all you need to do is put in the quantity that you have and it will work out the costs and your MPK totals. And on this record you then actually highlight or put in your opening stock and deliveries, and it calculates out your stock. All of that again appears in the course manager's dashboard. And here's an extract from the course manager's dashboard, which gives you applications year to date, so your MPK totals. The cost on this one, not quite zero, but yes, the figure that I had for this screenshot that I used hadn't got a cost attributed to it. But you can see here each of the fertilizers, and again the titles for the fertilizers are whatever you've put into that initial fertilizer list, so it will name them individually, and it will keep track and record so that you know precisely what stock level you have of every single fertilizer that you use. You'll be pleased to know that the herbicide, fungicide and insecticides work in exactly the same way. If you put the products in, pack size, costs and the active ingredients, it will then work that through to every element within the spreadsheet itself. So again, if you want to record an application, you simply click on record application and it will take you to that individual herbicide or fungicide or insecticide. And in a similar way, if you want to record a delivery, you do the same thing. It will take you to the right part of the spreadsheet to do precisely that. And with the pesticide applications, it is a similar process to the fertilizers. So you're putting in date, conditions, location, and and then you can identify spray operators, hours, vehicles, and it will calculate everything else out for you automatically. So you instantly get a cost of that individual application if you wanted to check if you're working on a budget, but it also provides you with the total AI in a similar way to the MPK for the fertilizers. And again, the extract that I've picked out here from the course manager's dashboard provides you with the pesticide data. This particular one is herbicides, but for each of your pesticides you will have a similar graph. It will identify the herbicides in this case, or the pesticides that you've got, and the total stock value. It will also highlight the active ingredient year to date and the costs year to date. I mentioned keeping track of your abstraction volumes on your irrigation, and this is the extract from the course manager's dashboard that highlights water. So you can see your various sources. Some of this is being picked up from the Clubhouse, the hospitality area, so you're looking at potable water and by different areas. But you can also within this, as I say, set your limits for abstraction, and it will deduct that as you're going through. So as you record an application, it will deduct it from this. It appears in the course manager's dashboard so that you actually have a balance left on your abstraction volume at all times. Compliance is going to be one of the biggest areas that you have to deal with the pesticides, fuels and other hazardous materials that you have to manage. And the environmental management system that we have will highlight and take you through a guide, a process, which highlights what you should be doing. It doesn't simply look at the rules and the laws and say, these are the rules that you have to stick to and off you go. It provides you with detailed information. It hooks into the pollution prevention guidelines provided by the Environment Agency so that it provides you with direct help and advice so that you know what you should be doing for each of these various elements. Monitoring your waste, recycling and pollution prevention again forms a key element, and once again we go through a process where the environmental management system will ask you specific questions and guide you through the process to make sure that you are doing what you should be doing to meet your obligations. And as part of that process, at the end of the day, the dashboard will provide you with information on your waste total. It identifies location, so source of the waste, so you can identify and engage with your suppliers to potentially look at ways of reducing individual suppliers' contributions to your waste totals. But it also looks at how it's been diverted, so whether it's been reused on site, recycled, or the total to landfill. Now you won't be surprised to see that actually the Clubhouse operations have their own Launchpad, and the facilities management Launchpad is very similar. It looks at staff, and again there are one or two elements that you have to set up and pre-populate that will then be used later on within the system. But it is a very simple way of recording heating, electrical consumption, water consumption, recycling and waste, and again checking legal compliance. The facilities management dashboard provides all the detailed information required by the facilities manager or club manager. So it'll give consumptions of resource and waste totals, but also compliance, which is a shared area between course management and Clubhouse, because of those areas of overlap in terms of compliance with the catering side of things, waste, oils, fat oils and grease, and discharge licenses. One of the key elements and benefits of using the environmental system that we've set up is the operational side of things, where you can actually identify consumption of your energy, your heating and lighting and cooling, so that you can then see whether there are areas that you might be able to reduce consumption. And that might be as simple as just turning off lights. It could be a case of swapping out light fittings to LEDs, changing heater settings, increasing the control on heating, or even zoning your building so that you actually try and keep your customers into certain areas so that you can actually shut some of the building down in winter periods. To help the process and to help you understand the various elements, we've put together an online resource. Not exactly bedtime reading, but at least it means that as you're working through the environmental management system, you can look at specific information that has been provided by NGOs and regulators to help you with that process, to help understand the risk and to help understand best advice. So, why should you use the ESI Operational and Environmental Management System? Well, it documents your compliance, monitoring and revision process, so it keeps you reviewing your environmental management system to make sure that you are up to date and current. Resource efficiency, saving you money on heating, lighting, cooling and water. Management data, it's providing you with up-to-date costs, consumption and helping you with budgets. Building in business resilience. Now, water scarcity is one area, but there's a whole raft of different areas that need to be highlighted in terms of environmental management and regulation. And certainly the feedback that we've had from the Environment Agency is if you're going through a process where you can prove that you are taking significant management steps, putting in place various processes to ensure that you are compliant, you're certainly going to get a lighter touch from regulators. And should the worst happen, if you have a documented system which shows that you have certainly not been negligent, that you've gone through a detailed process, then it is far less likely that you are going to be prosecuted. And if you are, that the fines will be significantly lower. The other key area is insurance. And we've spoken to a number of insurance companies who are very happy to provide discounts for improved risks. It provides them with an excuse to reduce your rates and be a little bit more competitive. But again, you have to prove that you're going down that enhanced management process. Improving team spirit and stakeholder engagement is a given. We have found that there are certainly an awful lot of employees that are very happy working for an organisation which takes their environmental responsibilities seriously. And having a robust and credible environmental management system is something that you may have to show to your members or other stakeholders. As far as certification goes, we've got a lot of clients that have gone through the environmental management system that haven't gone to the next step, but the environmental management system that we've established here will take you on and beyond the requirements for Gulf Environment Organization. So if you are looking for a way of going through a process to ensure that you achieve GEO certification, this is it. And it would actually take you a lawfully long way on to ISO 14001, which is a very high standard and very unusual for golf clubs, but it is not impossible for a golf club to go through that process. And there are a number of golf clubs that have. So in addition to all of those benefits, it also, the retained consultancy that we provide actually gives you help and advice. So whether or not it happens to be that you're working through the documentation at the time, it means that you've always got the ability to just pick the phone up to ESI if you have a question or if somebody else has a question for you, and we can answer it. As I say, if we don't know the answer immediately, then we will know someone that does, so we can help you out. And now the question of cost. Well, the ESI Operational and Environmental Management System, if you're looking for documentation only, which provides you with the spreadsheet workbook, a manual which explains in detail each element of that workbook to help you through, and the online resource, together with the phone and email and workshop support, the starting point is £240 per year plus VAT. If you feel that you're in need of a little more help, then we have the review package. This is £480 a year plus VAT, but it does provide site meeting and discussion walk round in addition to the guides and workbook and resource online. And again, you get support by email and phone, so we can help you out as you're working through the process. And should you need additional consultancy, you get a 15% discount on consultancy fees as well. The next level is Assist, and this is the package that most of our clients take up in the first year. It provides an additional bit of help and guidance on site and also recommendations and action plan. in addition to the phone and email support. And if you do need additional consultancy days, then there's a 25% discount on those as well. Our complete service provides much more detail on the site survey and report and recommendation and action plan. But we also come round for a third visit for this package, where we actually look at what you're doing and make sure that you're going through the process of implementing the recommendations and action plan that we've detailed. Again, you get phone and email support, and on this package there's a 33% discount on additional consultancy days. So what do our clients say? Well, I'll leave you to read those through on your own. If you want to pause this just for a moment so that you can read through, please do. And finally, a very big thank you for taking the time to look at this presentation and to listen to it. If you need any further information, I'll leave you with my contact details. I will be very happy to answer any questions that you have, or if you'd like any more information, please contact me on these details.